Good evening. Welcome to the meeting of the Golden Speakers Toastmasters. My name is Dan Craig. I'm the club president. I'm glad to see you all here. Golden Speakers meets every Tuesday night from 7:45 to 9 o'clock at Fairfield Business Park in the second floor conference room. Please come down and visit us. We love to have visitors come by. The first little piece of business I'm going to do is pull out my device and encourage you all to get yours and put it on quiet, or as Jean likes to say, stun mode. Then I'm going to read the mission of the Toastmasters Club, and then we'll get moving. I'll introduce our Toastmaster for the evening. The mission of the Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Thank you very much. We have a special meeting tonight. We're going to hear from Hudayfa Shatnawi, one of our valued members who is unfortunately leaving us and moving to the West Coast, but he has a very interesting story to tell us. I'm going to turn things over to Adi Hazin, our Toastmaster for the evening, and we noticed that this is mostly a Jordanian meeting tonight.
Thank you so much, Dan. Good evening. Today, we're going to have another wonderful meeting. So we'll start with the rules. The timer, TM Dan, can you please introduce your role?
As a timer, it's my job to keep track of the timing of every speaking event that occurs. Table topics we'll have tonight. They're 1 to 2 minutes. There's a set of lights in the back that you'll see when you're standing here. At the 1 minute point, I'll turn on the green light. At a minute and a half, I'll have a demonstration. Minute and a half, the yellow light. And at 2 minutes, the red light. And then you have 30 seconds to wrap up before the hook grabs your ankle. Our prepared talk tonight is Hudayfa, who's going to be speaking 10 to 15 minutes. He will get a green light at 10, yellow at 12 and a half, and a red at 15, and we'll give him a 30-second grace period also. We will have evaluation of our table topics. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. That's green at 2 minutes, yellow is 2.5, red is 3, and 30 seconds after that. I will give a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, TM Dan. And today our theme is when the change pays off. So let's hear from the grammarian, the word of the day, and to introduce the role, TMD.
So my role is to keep track of language use, any ahs or ums, and just keep track of the language use. That's correct. And then the word of the day is punctilious, which means precise. I can't read it. Behavior. Somebody read it for me. I can't see it.
Attentive.
Attentive. The TM manual insists on execution of precise guidelines and recommendations.
Thank you.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Where's punctilious in the
Puncti-
sentence?
Huh?
It's the first word in the top.
So what is it in the
The
example?
TM In the sentence. manual insists on the punctilious
Yeah, I forgot.
execution
Yeah, I forgot
of
to put that
precise
word in.
guidelines. Really been executed.
Thank you, Z. And now we have the accounter. Please, Janet, introduce your role to us.
You're raising.
I will be listening for filler words and counting them up for you so you become aware of how you are using those words like like, so, but, and. Tongue click, Xerox, and false start. Xerox means you say the same word twice, I think. So, okay, I'll be listening.
Thank you. And now, because no meeting without evaluation, please help me in welcoming TM Jean, the general evaluator.
Okay, let's see.
We'll hear from her later.
We'll hear
in the
from,
meeting.
we'll hear from me later.
Okay.
That's right, that's where we are.
Okay.
Thank you.
And okay.
Yeah.
Right. And because the team is, when change pays off, I have like a code I want to share with you. If you change nothing, nothing will change. So basically, we're here to make the world a better place to live. So without change, we can do nothing. And you can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. With this, I'm going to introduce a friend, a Toastmaster, one from my home country, Jordan. He's going to give us and inspire us with an educational speech. He came here in 2013. I asked him for introduction, but I just met him 2 weeks ago. I've heard a lot and many things about him, many good things, none bad. He's so generous. He's so helpful. He came here to study, work, and now he will tell us where he's going, the next journey. Please help me in welcoming TM Hudayfa Shatnawi.
Hello Toastmasters, our guests and viewers at home and everyone in the world. When I joined Toastmaster about almost 2 years ago, none of my goals was to learn or practice for interviews. It's just about practice to talk with non-friend people or giving public speech, not public speech at big meaning, but to be able to deliver my ideas and thoughts to other people. Recently, I was in a situation where I found that in every step in this situation, I used the skills that I learned here in Toastmasters. Recently, I had a couple of interviews with Amazon and some other companies. It was 2 rounds, or 3 rounds. First round was to talk with the recruiter. Second round to have a technical interview, phone screening. And the third round was to have an on-site interview. 5 interviews in one day. 5 one-hour interviews in one day. During this process, I used all skills I learned here in Toastmasters, starting from icebreaker. This is the simplest thing that new member give a short speech about themselves. It was very helpful. If we talk about prepared speech in general and icebreaker, or specifically icebreaker, I can apply that in all these interviews. In each interview, the first question you will be asked, tell me about yourself. You should be aware that each interview, if it's a 60 minutes, that means it's a 60 minutes. All these questions about tell me about yourself, and the other person will introduce himself, and you have a couple of minutes in the end to ask a couple of questions to them. All that part of these 60 minutes. You have to be ready for this answer to give a short introduction about yourself. It should be enough, and it should preface for the upcoming questions. This is what I have learned, because every other question will be asked after that will ask you about, tell me about a time. You have to use this introduction or tell me about yourself part to prepare for the other answers. You have to include some of the infrastructure, some information about the infrastructure where you work, your background, plus some information about yourself. Second part, table topics. This is very short practice we have every week, and it's common in everywhere. I don't remember if we had any meeting without table topics. We had a couple of meetings or many meetings without prepared speech, but we did not have, or we never had any meeting without table topics. Most of these interviews nowadays not or non-technical. I had, for example, at Amazon, I had 5 interviews, 60 minutes each. 60% to 65% of these questions were behaviors. One of these interviews was completely about, tell me about time, tell me about time, tell me about time. If you are not ready to answer these questions, you will be in trouble. What's the solution? You cannot expect all questions in the earth. But you can practice table topics. With table topics, or to be success in your answer in table topics, you have a couple of factors. First one, you have to be self-confident. To raise your hand every week and go there, answer any question. I remember I answered questions even not related to my culture or my personality, but it's the way how to use segue. Second thing, how to use these 30 seconds. Try to use them every time. These 30 seconds to prepare your ideas, order them, and build the core of your answer. Third thing, try to have your answer structured with introduction, body, and conclusion. You will not have that structure as it is in the interview, but it has similar. They use something called STAR statements. STAR means situation or task, action, and result. Your introduction should be short about a situation or a task you have in the past or you had. The action, which is the body of your speech. So if your answer is 3 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes seconds will be about situation or task, and then 2 minutes about the action that you have done, and then 30 minutes to wrap up and tell them what was the result. Do not miss the result, because they're looking for the result. Then we come to filler words. Filler words look like something not important, but some people, they do not, or they get frustrated when they are speaking with someone or chatting with someone who's, you don't want to frustrate your interviewer. It's not the time to frustrate anyone there. You have to keep them relaxed all the time. Practicing on Toastmaster give you that opportunity. I remember my first speech, which was, I think, my icebreaker speech, was full of filler words. After that, the best way to do it is to be an accountant next time. That will give you the opportunity to listen to other and notice that, this guy also has filler words. This guy has filler words. After a while, you even cannot listen to any speech in the TV or somewhere else if that person has filler words. Also, many of these behavior questions are about your personality. and big part of that is leadership. In Amazon, they call it, all these, they call them leadership principles. A leadership is a someone who's able to fulfill these 14 principles. One of them is about giving feedbacks. One of the questions that you have to expect is, tell me about a time when you gave negative feedback. It's not about giving a positive feedback, which is hard. Giving a positive feedback, something easy. I can say, yeah, perfect, you're fine. But giving a negative feedback is something you need to practice. Here, what we learned in Toastmasters, how to give feedback in general and how to handle this negative feedbacks. When you want to give a feedback to someone, that's what we practice here every week. I give a speech, someone will give me feedback, and then next week that person gives a speech, I give him, her feedback, and all the time. To give a feedback, your answer should be about these following points. First, I praise the person that I'm going to give feedback. Second, I should be precise about these points, or professional about these points, not about something personal between me and him or her. Third, which is the most important, when you give this part, which is the negative feedback, you have to give solutions. You do not just say, you do not do that in the right way. You have to tell that person what is the right way to do this task. Also, these principles about leadership needs you to be, or to have bias of action, for example. Bias of action means you do not wait someone to tell you what to do. You have to do that in any urgent situation. Which what we have here actually every week. When we have less number of members and we have to change hats or change roles, when you don't have to do, or you have to take more than one role altogether, or when you have to answer all these questions in table topics while you are not prepared for that. I learned many things from Toastmasters, even things that I never thought that will be helpful in this case. And when I practiced that all the time, and one of the meeting I was just counting, said, he said, but twice, and I'm not able to give him that report in the end of the meeting or in the end of the interview, but all these skills given me an opportunity to be able to listen to him, focus with him, and count to him what he, or all his filler words, plus understanding his question, because it's not only about just keep counting and just you are not able to answer. I encourage everyone, either here or in the university or anyone who's looking for a job, or maybe you don't know, you might need that sometime. You go to public park and you found they have a speech competition or something, and you have to practice or participate with that. Toastmaster is the right place for you, for everyone, as a student, as a teacher, as a manager, as a marketing man or a salesman. Anyone speaks with someone else rather than his children or her children needs to practice Toastmaster to be able to speak with people. Thank you very much. I wish success for everyone. and this is my probably last meeting here in Fairfield before I move to Seattle to join Amazon in 2 weeks. Thank you for all of you, for everything you have done for me, for every skill that I have learned here, for every moment I spent with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tia. We wish you best of luck.
Say
We admire your speech.
Yeah.
We admire your speech. We wish you all the best. We're gonna miss you, but best of luck in your next journey. And don't forget to join Toastmasters there.
Yeah, sure.
All right. 2 minutes evaluation. All right. Now we're going to have our table topics. It's an impromptu speech, so please help me in welcoming Carmen. I'm Carmen. Please introduce table topics. I guess about change.
Yes.
All right.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honorable guests, viewers at home. Today, the meeting theme is When Change Pays Off. And I'm sure this theme today is going to work really well for the table topics that I'm going to present to you. It's going to be fun. You can be punctilious. You can be creative, you can be spontaneous, everything goes. I don't have any questions for you. I don't have any numbers. What I have is objects.
What?
Here.
Oh, great.
I
grab
have household items here.
That's a new one.
So
That's
what
great, yeah.
you are gonna do is just make a TV commercial for every object that you are gonna pick it up
Oh, wow.
from this bag, this beautiful bag. So let's have some fun. Oh, okay.
Pull something out of the bag.
So we are,
Like a commercial.
like a TV commercial, like you are
From
a
the 50s.
superstar, like model, something like that, and you just have
That's a
something.
good idea. Many
Okay, so who, there you go. Don't look inside, don't look inside.
Don't touch. Catch.
Oh, good.
You can do a lot of change with it.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and new member. This is actually a very versatile device. Just as it stands like this is great if your husband has done something that you don't like. You could just bop him on the head. It's perfect. Small, it's got a nice handle. You can actually put it up on a little hook somewhere, so it's always available when you need it. However, it's not just a husband popper. It's a lint roller. How many people, do you have lint in your life? Does anyone not have lint in their life? Do we know what lint is? It's that nasty, fuzzy stuff that gets all over everything, particularly your dark clothes. This is the solution. I'm not going to take the label off here because I want you to see it's a lint roller, but once you take this label off, it's this very sticky substance and you can just run it all over. This is a little bit of an R-rated commercial. You can just get that lint wherever it is. Can you all see? This is just an amazing device. and it just picks up. And so the lint, instead of being on you, it's gonna be on this roller. And then just to finish that off, the fun part is, someone's timing me, the fun part is then, if you have to pop your husband on the head with it, he gets the lint on top of him too. It's so great. Cannot recommend this highly enough. I know my male audience is probably not as excited about the popping on the head part. My women I know are loving it. Thank you so much. Who else?
Aaron.
Aaron. Oh, you got voluntold.
I'm an
Oh,
evaluator.
he's an event.
I'll go.
Okay, wait.
Okay. No, I'll go next week. I'll
D.
No, you can't go next week because you're gonna do your talk.
I'll do my talk next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it about advertising?
TV commercial.
30 commercials, yeah.
Hi, my name is Dan Draper.
Oh, I like it.
No, you have to pick up something.
Let me see what I got.
No, don't see it, don't see it.
Mr. Corey.
Yes, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, baby oil. My name is Dan Draper. What do we use baby oil for in Mad Men? Well, we have secretaries. Is that right? Now, sometimes, we take the secretaries out to different places, and no, they need to get Tanner, so Chuck Tanner, you know who Chuck Tanner is, right?
Yeah, I did Tanner, yeah.
So we have to be very careful about how we approach our clients in this case. Now, sometimes we take them down to the Bahamas. Want to make sure they have a lot of oil in them, So when they're out there, get a nice tan, they come back. And then, of course, they sign a nice contract for a couple $1 million. So in the advertising scheme, it's not what you sell, it's what you do, how you approach people. And baby oil is a really good thing to use because you want to kind of kind of be slick and slippery when you're dealing with people, so that you have a lot of options at the end of the day, right? You can, guide them in this direction or that direction, take them on a vacation to the Bahamas or somewhere, and what we do when we're there, right? Yeah. And this is there's a word for this. It's called Mad Men. Mad Men are advertising executives. I grew up during the 1950s, and that was a big deal. I have a friend whose father was an advertising agent, and we heard lots of stories about his escapades, as you could say. Baby oil. Everybody needs some.
Who else?
Jen.
You can see Toastmasters going to his head. Oh, you don't get to look. I was gonna study each object.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is scary. Aha. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, guests. I present to you today a very useful object, this adorable little flashlight. The batteries are not working today. What? Oh, yeah. It's so tricky. It was working.
It was working.
Anyway,
We're
we
still-
believe you.
Doesn't matter. You can-
Yes.
This
So
is the trick.
this can light your way. You should always have it in your purse. If you're driving your car and you get home, you can't find your keys, you can use this to look. If you drop them, you can find them that way too. And you basically should never leave home without it. Because this will light your way. When you're walking, there's potholes, boulders, things you could trip over. This will prevent that. So everyone should have one in the glovey, one in the purse, one at home. They should just be all over the place. That would be my recommendation. Because I like to make sure my handy items are available when I need them. Thank you very much. Oh, and it goes fast.
We got more. Who else? Dan?
That's enticing.
Being at an auction and fidgeting.
Yeah, fidget. Oh, sold.
Hand sanitizer is what it says. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. In these trying times, there are certain core items that you need to have around you always. There are germs everywhere, everywhere. But with your hand sanitizer, you're immune. You can go anywhere. You can go in disgusting places, dirty places, things you wouldn't ordinarily even think about. But then you just douse the hand sanitizer and you're fine. Go out and shake hands with everybody you meet. I feel that if you consider the difficult world that we live in, the challenges that exist, the possibility of disease in various areas, that you'll want to keep a few cases of this on hand at all times. As your children leave for school in the morning, you give each one their hand sanitizer. Say, don't touch anyone unless you've sanitized. The whole family. It's just very important for quality of life. Maybe 3 or 4 cases per person per month would be the best idea. And if you'll talk to me, I can arrange a volume discount for you. Thank you.
Who else?
Do you have time?
Time for one more. You are
One
the
more?
Toastmaster. You have to tell us.
Do you have time? I'm asking the timer. One more.
One more?
One more.
Okay.
You remember?
No, I.
Do I go up?
No.
This is fun to go up. Oh, we got up. Okay, okay.
You want to go up?
Next time, next time.
This
You
is
want to go up?
Oh, it's
Only one minute. Wow.
Nice.
what's its name?
Come.
Called the car.
Make one up.
Didn't look that there.
Today we have this new product. Probably you have used it all the time since you are a child. Today we're going to sell this new product from you. It's different than anything you have used before. This new product is perfect. If you have stress, just it helps you release
Just
all
release.
that stress. If your shoes is small, you can just use it to wear your shoes. If you have your son there is doing something wrong, you just try to not.
Knock him out.
Yes. This is an amazing product. We have just brought it new. It's different. You see?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect for your skin. It's perfect for your hair. Even if you do not have that much hair, but it's perfect. You can use it for your hair if you wish. But probably today we're bringing this product not for that reason. Today we brought this product in this small size. You can keep it in your pocket all the time, or maybe in your back pocket. It's perfect. you will not lose it. You can just, even if you throw it in the car, it can stay there even if it's very hot or if it's very cold. This is the new product. Use it or leave it. Buy one and you will take one free.
Oh. Thank you, Table Topics Master. It was nice, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't go out to take any, because I didn't participate because I have to be convinced when I said anything. All right, now we're going to vote for the best tabletop speaker. Timer, 2 minutes, please.
Let me tell you who qualified.
Yeah.
It was everybody. Jean, Dee, Janet, Dan, Hudaifa. Jean, Dee, Janet, Dan, Hudaifa.
And now we're going to hear from the evaluator who's going to evaluate the table topic speakers. Please help me in welcoming TM Aaron.
You just had 4.
Yeah, 2 to 3 is
2 to
fine.
3.
5.
5 still.
1, 2. Yeah, it was 5. I think that 2 to 3 minutes is.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And thank you, Carmen. I think that was one of the coolest table topics that we've done in a really long time. I think we really kind of changed it up a little bit. Thank you for being so creative with that. Jean, you started us off with a bang with your lint roller. You had a great use of the stage and use of the object as well. You know, you were all over, look at this thing, look at all that it can do. You had great enthusiasm. You completely owned it, you know, as if you were actually giving the commercial, and just your enthusiasm was palpable. Very humorous, great eye contact with the audience and the anticipated audience that you would have been talking to as well. I think just a little, maybe a bit more use of the stage, making it even bigger. Just look at this thing, look at all it can do. It can whack your husband with. You know, just a little bit more would have completely sold it, in my opinion. Dee, I really loved your more fierce, ferocious take on the use of the baby oil. I kind of thought it was interesting at the end how you kind of gave us almost a history of what the Mad Men were. I never really knew much about that. It was kind of a nice little history lesson there. Very, very interesting use of humor. I couldn't tell where you were going with the story, but I kind of liked it that way. Like you kept making turns that I wasn't expecting at all, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going in this direction now. You kept the audience guessing the whole time. Maybe a little more physicality with the baby oil, actually applying it and showing the actual use of it would have sold us to the product that you were advertising, but overall, great job. Janet, you had your flashlight. You had a nice physical use of the flashlight, even though it wasn't lighting up. You were still using it appropriately across the stage. I thought it was kind of a small point, but you said glovey. I don't know, I thought that was kind of a cute word that you used, and I think it just kind of added a certain element to the speech. I think one thing you could have done is just make it big, make it huge. Just a lot more confidence. I felt a bit of apprehension from you. Dan. Really nice tone. You kind of had a different tone than the rest of our speakers, especially when you started out, and it was a nice little change of pace from what we had heard. You had, when you were washing the hands and your use of the stage there, nice physicality. And just same as Jean, just use the stage a little bit more, make it a lot bigger, and showing it off to all of the audience members that you're advertising the product to. Hudaifa. You were right out of an infomercial, is what I said. I felt like a very infomercial-ish
vibe from you. You had great eye contact with your audience. You were huge. Look at all the things, and even Julian's fries, you know, that kind of stuff. Great physicality, huge use of gestures, and once again, just a little bit more use of the stage would have just brought it up to the next level. But thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Connectulous evaluation. And now, no meeting without evaluation. Please help me in welcoming DTM Jean.
We'll go ahead and have our roles and then bring this on home. So I'd like to hear at this point in time from our timer, Dan Craig.
Hudaika's speech was 12 minutes 55 seconds, I estimated. I had trouble finding my stopwatch, but he definitely came in under the time. Table topics, Jean 220. Again, there was a little estimating involved. When she started thwapping me, I lost the thread. D 150, Janet 112, Dan 138, Hudaika 136. Aaron's evaluation 329. Way to go. Thank you.
Jeez.
All right, our next role player would be
Look around,
our, how do you know?
because my name's there. Sorry.
I may choose to go over you.
Okay.
She's the boss. However, because I'm going to be punctilious with this agenda and follow it precisely, I will call up our grammarian, Dee Stauffer.
I have to apologize, I'm a bit confused about what I'm supposed to do. I need to read the manual again.
Any good uses of language
And,
and just how many times that
oh,
word
that's
was
it, I don't need
used.
to do all this stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Aaron, Hudaika used the word of the day, all right? And you used the word of the day, right? I think that's it. And you used.
I know, we look a lot alike.
I
I use it too.
Oh, Carmen used it too.
Carmen used it, okay, thank you for doing that. So that's my report.
Okay, so let's just do a quick review of the grammarian role because we do have some new members and we want, and by the way, I was gonna mention, Kane, this is your paying attention to everything because we'll start assigning you roles here. But so the grammarian has two jobs. One is to select a word of the day, give a definition, use it in a sentence, and that's great. So you wanna look that up ahead of time and just stretch us a little bit. And then the other piece is to listen to creative usages of language during the session, and then also usages that maybe are a little questionable and bring that up so we all learn more about grammar and vocabulary. So that's it. And then you just keep a report and you give that at the end by person. Good. Now we would like to hear from our delightful counter.
Okay. It was such a nice, easy job. I had trouble paying attention sometimes here. Hudaika was pretty perfect as far as fillers, gotta tell him. There was one false start. That was it. So that was excellent. Jean, I didn't catch a thing. Dee gave us a good supply of 3 ums, two or three you knows, so's, 2 so's, and a couple of extra ands. I even heard myself say, you know, and so a couple of times. So I gave myself a mark on that. Again, Hudaika was perfect. Adi said one inappropriate and. And then Aaron, one you know, one and. Not bad. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Thank you. All right. Looks like we have a greeter, joke master.
Yes,
Art?
I do.
Art, are you prepared to give us a joke?
I am. I've got two.
All right, thank you.
So a photon shows up at the clerk's registration desk at a hotel and asks for a room for the night. The clerk says, "Well, where's your luggage?" Photon says, "I'm traveling light."
All right.
Good one.
So in one of the northeastern colleges, there's this professor of classic Roman and Greek literature. And he's a very punctilious professor. Has his clothes made personally by a tailor. One day, he's torn a pair of his trousers, takes it down to the tailor, to whom he's been going for years. Hands the trousers across the counter and says, "Eumenides?" And the tailor, not to be outdone, says, "Euripides?" That's my report.
Okay. Okay, that's an intellectual, do you know your Greek mythological and heroic participants?
Physical.
So if you have questions about what that was, you can talk to Art afterwards. Because Art, you may have to explain. Maybe not. This group is all caught up to speed.
Euripides sounds pretty good.
All right, now as the general evaluator,
He wants to vote the votes.
Oh, I give it to you.
give him the winner, put that down. Okay, so as the general evaluator, pardon?
Do you know the winner or no?
That's the one.
No, I'm
right?
getting the
Okay.
okay, yeah. I don't know the
It's the winner?
winner. You're the only one that knows the winner. Okay, but we digress. The next item is the general evaluator's report. And I will be evaluating our evaluator tonight. That's what we have our evaluators, general evaluator do. I will mention, just a point about the meeting, we did get started late, 10 minutes late actually. We've been trending better, and then today was a little bit of a hiccup. Just want everyone to know, the doors, we have no control over the doors, they are locked at 5. So you have to be here by 7:40, because if I have a role, I have to be up here, writing stuff on the boards or helping set up and like that. So just really, I know it's hard after a day of work, but do try to put, a little heavier step on we ask the police not to issue any tickets on Toastmasters night for that stretch, okay? Because we know you're trying to get here.
Right.
It's like the Audubon, pretty much.
Yeah, we just say, look, we got people, it's a good cause, just don't give any tickets.
We need some banked roads though.
All right, now back on so now we're gonna start timing me. Well, maybe not, but anyway, our table topics evaluator tonight was Aaron, and he gave observations, and he also gave suggestions. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all of these. He gave a nice little point for each person on what he noticed, specifically standing out on their speeches. He gave a lot of the same kind of suggestions. So more action. He wanted me to move around a bit more. Now I have to tell you, with shoes like these, I cannot be hopping around. I'll sprain my ankle. So there's a limit.
It's
Okay.
a TV show.
I should have looked
We
down
have
before I gave my comment.
We cannot go out the screen.
Yeah, well, that's right. And if I'm on TV, I can't run off the screen. Okay. He asked Dee. That was very cute. He wants you to smear the oil more punctiliously, as I wrote that down for myself. Aaron's very, he's into gestures and motions, and he's got a theater background. So I would expect this to come out from him. Janet, he said, you love your phrase, Glovey, make it bigger. He kept wanting us to get bigger, more action, more running around on the stage, and this is all good. What I would like to suggest for Aaron, just to change it up a little bit for that, is some comments on people's structure, on their content. Did they have an opening, a body, and a conclusion, as Hudaifa told us how important that is for table topics? How well did the speakers' points support key points, main points in the body? Just that whole piece, because that is really impressive when you've got that organization. Also, table topics, we know we can take up to 30 seconds before we start anything, just to organize our thoughts a little bit. And again, we heard from Hudaifa how important that is to take advantage. It doesn't look like you don't know what you're talking about, but it just gives you the opportunity to look like you're a deep thinker and you want to organize your thought to help your audience. So that would be my comment, is to change and start getting some other kinds of things to comment on, to build speeches. Okay. But Aaron's great. Isn't it great to see Aaron? I mean, I missed him even just last week. I just missed him. Yeah. Then they're making babies, or they've made the baby, and the baby is now trying to get here, and he's working on that. It's incubating. Hudaifa, you're gonna miss Aaron's baby.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I'm waiting another one.
Do you? Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah.
Okay, so you really have a lot of change.
Yeah.
You have a lot of change. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that is it. That is my report. Thank you. I will go ahead and hand it back to our Toastmaster. Thank you.
And now, guess what? We have a winner.
Okay.
The winner is for the table topics. TM Hudaifa.
Yeah, there it is.
And now I'm going to. The meeting is adjourned. I'm going to give the floor to the president.
Hey,
Yeah.
You don't get that
I'm giving the
authority.
floor to Mr. President.
and afterwards, we do that again. I want to get a picture of you guys, okay?
Yeah.
Like after the meeting, right? Like doing that thing? We're gonna,
The Jordan.
yeah, Hudaifa heading out, kind of.
Not over.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Hudaifa, for gracing our meeting, your last appearance. A bittersweet experience for us, but we enjoyed it very much. Thank you to all Jordanian Toastmasters and Toastmasters to be, hopefully. Yusuf, why don't you stand and just give us one thing you liked about the meeting?
Okay. One thing I like the feedback. So the feedback from different roles is really helpful to expand your knowledge. So you will have a real progress in your speech and different experience from different people. That's really rich. They will enrich your experience. That feedbacking. This is the most important thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You've hit upon pretty much the central premise of how Toastmasters helps people advance. If we give each other feedback, and we learn that way. If you are interested in joining our club, our Vice President of Membership, Aaron, here, can tell you more after the meeting ends.
Thank you.
I'm going to call Carmen up just briefly. She has some encouragement for us in terms of paying our dues soon. Come on up.
She's our treasurer.
Please don't forget to pay the renewal of your memberships. Our last day is October 1st, and we don't want to lose our great stand in the achievement for our club, which is gonna be really good if we have that path for our club. Right? It's a distinguished club award.
Distinguished club, we have to make at least one dues submittal on time. So we always, and it's just professional, so we always make sure we get that done in, we need it before October 1st, we need it like now. So this is, you know, the next,
Next week.
yeah, so then she
Otherwise
has
you have to
time
drive to
to,
her house.
yeah.
Yes. Or you just put it in my bus. And she's so close. Yeah. So I accept checks, cash, and credit cards too, but with a $2 fee. So I
What's
don't think
easier?
it's gonna-
Money orders or,
Cash.
huh? Cash.
Cash is
Cash is better. Yeah.
Cash. Check.
Cash is king.
Cash or check.
Cha-cha-ching.
So please don't forget. I don't want to send emails on the 30th September. But if I have to do it, I have to do it. I am the treasurer. I am.
You don't wanna see Carmen when she's upset.
I brought this with me tonight because I don't want Carmen stalking me anymore. Let's see, we also regularly want to tell you that once the meeting adjourns, if you've got a speech that you want to get scheduled, you want to talk to the Vice President of Education, Jean. She's always available for that. Do we have any other business? I have one more thing in mind, but anybody else? Go ahead.
Voice is changing.
Spit it out.
Your opera motif, yeah.
The member,
Interest survey.
yes, I couldn't even think of what it's called. If anyone has filled those out and they'd like to return them to me,
Oh, yeah.
please.
Remember,
Evaluation.
Survey.
Yeah,
survey.
I think I passed them out a couple weeks ago.
We just figured we weren't gonna
Why
see
don't you
you.
send us a reminder email?
Yeah, with an attached document.
Okay.
You download it.
This is what it is.
Yes.
This is
do you
it
have
right
that?
here.
That's it?
Do
Uh-huh.
you have
Yeah.
an extra for
Do you have extra? I don't think I.
I don't.
Send it by email.
This
I
is,
never-
yes, scan and send,
Yeah.
it would really help.
Can you email it?
It's on the Toastmasters website.
It is.
That's where I got it.
I know, but could you put
Okay.
it on an email and
Of
send it out?
course.
To the lesser.
I didn't know if you were saying everybody should go to the Toastmasters.
No, yeah,
website and pull it.
I can send it to people.
Okay, good,
Send
we'll
it
do
out.
that.
Question, how many members do we think we have right now for the future?
We'd
You know, I don't have
No,
the
We just
count.
don't know.
We'll see if we will lose a few at the
I know
renewal.
you've got
That
it.
always
I
happens.
know Jean has a secret tally in her.
Our goal is to end the year with 20 members, so we need more.
Yeah.
The last thing I'm gonna mention is we had our booth at Art Walk. We
Fun.
got maybe a dozen people to sign up for a raffle.
Nice.
We're gonna contact those people, tell them that they won a prize, ask them to come visit us at a meeting. But the other good thing that happened was we had a lot of conversations. We had our banner up and people were walking by, just good exposure. So I'd like to think that we could keep doing that. It's a good thing for us to do in terms of attracting members. I would like to meet with Jean and Aaron and Janet. Veda's not here. And Dee. So we want to talk about contacting people about giving them the prizes, the raffle prizes.
Right.
Okay.
We can do that pretty quickly.
Right now. We'll do it right now.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
Sure.
Anything else? Great meeting, everyone. It is adjourned.